on Skype, our office phone continually ring, but this page tells us it's going to ask. Laura's going to get the phone in another part of the office. Our office is pretty big. You can probably see it. Well, I don't know if you can see behind there. We're on the second floor. We're on a loft space, and we have a couple thousand square feet in here. So she's running downstairs to go get the phone. This is upstairs. Here is where we have our computers and those kinds of things. So, getting back to what we were, I'm the storyteller, and the easiest way for me to tell stories is visually. So that's why photojournalism. Another question?
What is the best kind of camera to use when you're taking pictures?
The one that's in your hand.
iPad?
If that's what you have, that's the best one to use. You know, you make pictures with your heart, your eye, your mind, your soul. That the little capture device is only, you know, the black box is only useful for translating what you have in your heart, your head, what your vision is, what your intellect is, what you're trying to show. To capture that in a two-dimensional space and transmit it, make it so that people can view it in whatever viewing mechanism you think is appropriate, whether it's a website or an iPad, a printed book, a gallery show, a traditional print media. Any of those things could be acceptable. So what you have to do is, it's about feelings. I mean, you're trying to, if you're a photojournalist, you try to capture your feelings as honestly and with as much integrity as you possibly can. So it doesn't really matter what the camera is. I mean, you know, I personally use Nikon cameras, but I make a lot of photographs with my iPhone. So, you know, it just depends on what the right camera is for the situation. And as I said, in a vacuum, whatever camera you have is the right camera. If you guys walk outside and you have the world's best DSLRs sitting in your room where you're at, and you walk outside and they're inside and you see a twister coming at you, a tornado, and all you have is your iPhone, well, what's the idea? Take a picture of the iPhone, or just say, oh man, I really wish I had a DSLR. You know, so it's whatever you have. You know, and there's also I also believe that there are times when different kinds of cameras are intimidating, depending on how you use it. You know, there's significantly less intimidating than a DSLR for most people most of the time. So, you know, maybe sometimes you can take photographs, but other times. I personally use not DSLRs, most of my still work. I use several different kinds of video work. I rely very heavily on the Nikons for that. We also use Reds to do that work. It just depends on what the situation is.
Okay. What has been your favorite place to take pictures at?
It's not really. It's more time. You know, I'm older than you, and I'm fairly prolific. I mean, this particular year, I've flown over 375,000 miles at this point. So I'm in motion a lot, you know, and so I don't have just like one particular place that I like best or thing. But as a, you know, I like certain times of the day normally better. Really early in the morning, really late in the afternoon. But again, it just depends on what you're trying to achieve when you're trying to achieve it. There's no one spot. Now, there's a number of cities that I love: Barcelona, London, Berlin, New York, Miami. I'm headed to Miami tonight. I love those places. Australia is fantastic. North and west of Ireland is great. Norway is tremendous. You know, South Africa. Yeah, there's just so many. Tuscany, certain parts of the year is unbelievable. You know, I've made wonderful photographs in China. At this point, I've worked in more than 130 countries, and I've worked in every American state. So there's no, you know, I mean, I'm from western Nebraska originally, and there isn't any, I think the northern part of Nebraska along Highway 20 is as pretty a place as there is in the world. So, you know, there's all kinds of options.
Do you have a favorite sport to take pictures of?
Well, I guess, again, it depends a little bit on the level of competition. For the most part, my favorite sport is athletics. That's what the rest of the world calls track and field. So track is pretty great. Men and women compete on an equal platform. They're an equal stage. The athletes are not covered by any kind of headgear or face masks or big bulky uniform. So you can see them, you can see their expressions, you can see their emotions, and in track and field there's not a lot of tricky rules. I mean, basically it's line up and run, jump or throw. You know, there's no official deciding if you're holding or if you're pushing or if you're shoving or if you're offside. And you just line up and go. So it's pretty straightforward competition. I like horse racing. The Kentucky Derby is my favorite annual event. I've been to 10 Olympic Games, and that's always fun. Love
You a Hawkeye fan?
a Hawkeye fan?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. You asked a guy from Nebraska.
Oh, I forgot.
You know, I mean, it would be nice if we win sometimes. You have another question?
How many pictures does it usually take to get the one that you're looking for?
One.
Wow.
But, you know, you don't always, you know, that's an interesting question because, you know, there is no answer to that. I have friends that work for the National Geographic, and somebody will, you know, I'll see a comment on a blog or something, they'll say, well, gee, those guys took 20,000 pictures, I can get it right if I took 20,000 pictures. Well, that represents a naive point of view. Just because National Geographic photographer took 20,000 pictures doesn't mean that he needed 20,000 pictures to get the final pick for the 20 that they picked. I guess almost every photograph he or she took was of sufficient quality and interest to be published. It's just you have to have, at the end of the assignment, the photographs that they're looking for to complement the words and to do the story justice the way they want to do it justice. So, you know, each and every photograph, it's like, I'm covering 2 football games. I've got the University of Miami tomorrow against the University of North Carolina. And I'll probably shoot 1,200 photographs. But that's because when the game starts, I don't know what the most important play is going to be. It could turn out that the most important play of the game is the second play of the game. But until the game is over. So I have to shoot every play, and I have to keep shooting because I don't know what's going to happen. I can't go back and take pictures after the fact. It's not like you can go back and say, oh, well, the most important thing happened 5 minutes ago, I'll photograph it now. You have to photograph it at that precise moment in time when it occurs. So, you know, no moment in time is ever going to be exactly the same. Consequently, you have to be prepared to record all these things. It's kind of like a back. You suck up all the information that you need, and then when you're finished, you go back and review and keep the salient moments that you really want.
Do you feel like you've